I want to discuss the archetype of the Millennial Quirk Chungus. But first, we have to go back and trace the history of this term. It goes back to, as far as I know, the Big Chungus meme, which, Tate, you have an image of Big Chungus here.
I do.
In case anyone hasn't seen it before.
Should we make our own Chungus meme right now?
That's the, that is Big Chungus. It's just fat, tubby Bugs Bunny.
Something about Greek love.
Was it an actual?
It's originally from a cartoon in like the 40s.
Oh.
And people picked this up back in like 2018 and made it a meme. That's where the word Chungus comes from. But what do you have cooking up here, Tate?
I don't know. I'm
what are you gonna do?
I'm pontificating here.
Oh, good.
Maybe
There's a lot of different directions we could go.
Think about it before you Fed post. Should we bring back Big Chungus?
Hey,
Yeah.
should I target someone?
Let's
should I send
bring
a
it
threat
back.
via Big Chungus? Doxing
So,
someone via Big Chungus.
I'd also like to show the derivative of it, that is Quirk Chungus. Later on in, I believe, 2020, this originated. I have decided to become a millennial comic artist. My original characters are Quirk Chungus. Fails to realize she has already become her mother. Some dogs are doggos, some are puppers. Missed out on being a whore. That one is the most hard-hitting. Missed out on being a whore. And then the male character, man-child, lacks all personality and will. This has in turn become his entire personality. His own existence is okay with him somehow. And then, of course, to top it all off, they have their cat, the child replacement. And this is more so an illustration of what people believe to be the average millennial couple. The neutered, consumerist, pudgy, NPC millennial couple. They're dinks. They might even be Disney dinks.
That shirt's
Look
my
at
favorite part of the whole.
His crappy
Stuff.
posture, shoulders are hunched forward.
It's just
Oh.
carefully obstructed by her hand.
Exactly. With the I like the
It
melting
says Hag Wars, actually. Yeah.
the melting pizza slice shirt as well as and the cut off jorts that she's wearing there.
I love pizza.
It's great stuff. So a lot of people have made very mean-spirited memes about the Quirk Chungus archetype in recent years, and I think justifiably so. But I did come across a robust defense of the Quirk Chungus. This girl named Frankie Faye shared it on TikTok. Let's show her video in defense of Quirk Chungus. It's quite a long video, so we might not get through the whole thing, but here it is.
Quirk Chungus. This archetype of quirky millennial women has been getting a lot of hate lately, but is it actually justified? Allow me to explain. For
Yes.
those unaware, Quirk Chungus is a phrase that comes from this satire webcomic posted to iFunny on November 20th of 2020, and it depicts your typical millennial webcomic couple. An infantilized adult woman who uses words like doggo and pupper, her cat lovingly labeled child replacement, and her soulless husk of a husband whose personality does not extend beyond the latest and greatest Star Wars movie. And as I'm sure you're wondering yourself, why is this so pointed and hateful? Here's some context. Millennials dominated webcomics in the 2010s and somewhat into the 2020s, particularly in the genre of quirky, relatable couple featuring a self-insert brunette and her boyfriend who buys her pizza and touches her butt. Comics like Pizza Cake and Our Super Adventure exemplify the worst stereotypes about millennials. They're childlike adults who are weirdly puritanical, and a lot of them suffer from not like other girls syndrome. But before you write them off entirely, let's really think about this, right? If you were a millennial teen girl growing up in the early 2000s, you were told that being thin and desirable was at once required of you, but also that you were vain and a bimbo for actually trying. And come the 2010s, a lot of millennial women rebelled by making an overt display of how little they care about their appearance, especially compared to the other girls. This also had the effect of throwing every other woman under the bus for the sin of trying to appeal to men. You quite literally couldn't win. But they spotlighted a very unflattering set of behaviors that some millennials do act out in real life. If you've ever seen the TikToker Bianca Scaglione, you know exactly what I mean.
Hello. So today I have my hubby here, and we're gonna talk about how we met. We met in a coffee shop.
He was le customer.
Even though she is obviously playing a character, as soon as this clip left the target audience, the comments were absolutely vicious. So, is the hate deserved? I don't think so. In my honest opinion, the Quirk Chungus hate fandom is actually a combination of 3 things. 1, it is very uncomfortable to watch an adult play act as a 12-year-old.
As a 28-year-old toddler that spills everything.
2, and I know this is controversial, but I think a lot of this is casual sexism towards these weird, quirky women because they're too quirky to ever pass as feminine, but they're not so quirky that it like wraps all the way around and becomes hot. They're very hard to fetishize, and therefore it's just easier to make fun of them. And 3, I think this is an outgrowth of our obsession with cringe and the need to just constantly punish people for the rest of their lives because they put something embarrassing on the internet. What I'm saying is, there is no need to be a heckin' wholesome man-child well into your 30s, but I also don't know if there's actually a need to beat these people up like this.
Yes,
but please let me know what you think.
Yes, there is. These people are. I'm gonna
No, go off. Go ahead and express.
No, these people like are
your
they're everything
thought.
that's wrong with the United States. It's infantilization, and they can choose not to do this tomorrow. They can choose to be adults, but they don't want to matriculate. They're fighting against that because these people haven't accepted that they're old. They haven't accepted that they're not teenagers anymore. And I'm not going to outsource that to societal pressures because society has always valued youth to a large degree. I mean, I know like, you know, respect your elders is more of a thing, but like youth is everyone reminisces on being young. It's just you have to accept it. And these people, they don't, every time they face something hard, they quit. Every time they face some adversary in life, that's something adversarial, they quit, they fold. And so this is one of the hardest things you have to accept. It's becoming old, becoming unk status, but it's just something you have to do.
I never understood the baby talk thing. You
the
know,
millennials do it a lot.
What is it? Even with babies, I don't do it.
Do.
It's so bizarre. And this seems like unmarried women that don't have kids are doing what they would be doing with their babies to the world.
Well, it's also a lot of married women who don't have kids, and they're basically, you know, married, but they act like children, and as she said, have a weird puritanical bent to them. It's interesting that point she made about millennial women growing up in the 2000s, like in the era of, you know, Howard Stern or like tabloid culture. And I do remember those memes trailing off in the 2010s about like fake gamer girls who like don't even turn on the controller and they're just trying to appeal to dudes, and like, I'm a real gamer girl and I put my hair in a messy bun and I'm sweaty and gross and I like eating pizza and I'm one of the bros. Like, those memes were everywhere, and she is kind of right that there was a little bit of a false dichotomy between like the bimbo and the Quirk Chungus. Like, you had to pick one.
Well, no, you
but
just
that doesn't govern your life well into your 30s and then 40s. Shouldn't even govern your life in your 20s. You should probably put that away by the time you're an adult, not, you know, a teenager who's still like figuring out who you are.
I wonder, because I'm 46 now, and I feel I'm like 31 probably. I don't know.
You don't strike me as someone.
Yeah, 1979. So I think about my youth a lot. I mean, I'm still pretty youthful, but I think about when I was in my 20s.
You are.
Casual sex. That was the 20s. It was like I could have sex with whoever I wanted. I didn't have to worry about I didn't think about. Now I think about family and like preserving my environment, but I miss that time of like youthful I mean, I still have it actually, but like I don't know. It was just I didn't know enough at that period to feel like I needed to be responsible. I didn't know enough.
You're Gen X, right?
Yeah, like the last year of Gen X,
yeah.
79.
I think that is why you don't have anything in common with these people. Like, that says a lot. Because the millennials we're talking about, they have a sort of antagonistic obsession with Gen Z because they can't stand the thought that they aren't the youth generation anymore, which we've discussed in the past plenty. And that TikToker Bianca that she mentioned, we did pull up a video from her. She is a satire creator. She's not actually doing this in earnest, but it is really the perfect encapsulation of that insistence on still being the youth culture that we see from specifically millennials today.
Me has a question.
Some might believe it impossible to answer.
But alas, why is Gen Z so obsessed with millennials? Like, why don't you go focus on your iPad Nano or something, sister? We're just trying to exist and sip on our pumpkin spice lattes. Besides, my doggos think I'm pretty swag. Shouldn't you be busy thrifting or something? Well, I wore those clothes in 2000, sweetheart.
Before you were born,
Like, I don't know about you, but I prefer my skinny jeans.
I shall wear them forever.
You will have to pry them out of my cold, shaky hands before I surrender.
And there are a couple of celebrity examples of a Quirk Chungus that I would like to mention. One of them, you wouldn't necessarily guess is a Quirk Chungus. It's Anne Hathaway. And Half the Hate is something that few people remember in the 2020s. But Half the Hate was like all over blogs in the 2000s, specifically like I think the late 2000s. Anne Hathaway was widely hated and mocked, and like she's beloved now, but they hated her because she was so earnest and she was, you know, less cynical than we are today. She was a little too quirky, theatrical, simple, and Taylor Swift reprised that role. She has cultivated in a very calculated way, this relatability factor with her fan base, even though obviously nothing about Taylor Swift's life is relatable to any of us. And I think, ironically, Gen Z is going to follow the Quirk Chungus archetype in their own special way, which we were just talking about how, like, as Zoomers, we're realizing that we have aged up into that same place where millennials were when they started hitting the denial stage. I saw it pointed out in this tweet that the millennial Quirk Chungus has evolved into its Zoomer variant, which I like to call Shrek Fungus. Traits include dressing up as Pitbull for Halloween with a bald cap, peak comedy, quirky tapestries like the one pictured, it shows gaslight, gatekeep, Gibby from iCarly, and ending every message with "hope this helps." The quirky stan culture lingo that they use.
Yeah, I've noticed that Gen Alpha is not using lowercase when they type. Yeah, they just type how their phone.
Really?
Because, or Gen Alpha. Yeah, that's what I said, right? Yeah,
I like Alpha Gen.
Because they have autocorrect settings on because it's their parents' iPad.
That could
makes
be
sense.
it. But yeah, I don't think that they think that's cool or like interesting way to communicate.
Do they use like semicolons and ellipses and grammar basically?
I don't think they've made it through English class. I'm not even being facetious. I don't think they've like.
They're literal babies for some part of them. Are still babies.
Oldest alpha is like 14, 15.
Yes, the oldest alpha is about to enter like high school.
But yeah, they don't seem to use. There's a word for lowercase that I can't use, but they don't seem to use lowercase.
Okay, I'll have to ask you about that later. I have gotten a lot of pushback actually because I've always done lowercase online, and people hate that.
Because I think it came out of like internet culture, and that's
does.
very older Zoomer coded.
Right.
And Gen Alpha hasn't grown up with the internet culture because they just have like 3 apps that they use.
Right.
I'll write sometimes with the Oxford comma, like, you know, comma, thinking about this, comma, I'm thinking that, you know, and so you put this use the Oxford comma instead of, you know, thinking about this comma thing, and people will be like, why the commas, bro? And I'll be like, grammar. I don't know how to. I studied grammar for 25 years. Like, I'm still studying it daily.
They're losing it. They don't have a sense for that anymore.
And it wouldn't get as many reposts because it looks awkward on TV to see all those commas, even though it's the correct. I don't even know what that means, correct, but that was the way I was taught. And so now I'll use like lowercase, no punctuation, it goes flies. People are like, I know exactly what you're saying.
Right.
Like,
well, maybe when Gen Alpha ages up, then you're going to be a hit with them because you actually use
grammar,
proper grammar and punctuation,
grammar, logos. It's called the triumvirate. I think it's the triumvirate of communication is grammar, logos, and rhetoric. Logic, grammar, and rhetoric are the 3 pillars of like Greek.
Yeah, well, classical education is what I grew up in, and we started off in grammar school, and then logic in middle school, and rhetoric in high school, and that was how it always was at my K through 12 schools.
Did they give up on the grammar, like comma placement, semicolons?
Absolutely not. We were held to very strict standards, and this was before kids used ChatGPT to cheat on their essays. I didn't have that luxury, and I'm glad.
I got a question about Quirk Chungus. Is this like a thing young girls would just do, but they're before the internet, but no one ever knew because there was no internet?
That's a good question.
That would
But
be a
you'd be
question
more
for you,
suited to
yeah.
answer it.
Like, would women have this like painful irony?
Were they like the girls who like thought they were like Phoebe from Friends?
You know what? Yeah, but they were they were actually that girl. It was it was very sexy, but they had no idea. They were like nerdy. They'd be carrying their books around and like, but really cute under the big glasses and probably had messy hair. And that was it. I'd see them at
see.
school.
Well, because like our generation, I think we perceive Gen X specifically as like the last genuine generation where what you saw was what you got, and then afterwards millennials were the first generation that started doing bits as their personality.
Performative stuff. That's what ruined the Quirk Chungus, because you're right. Quirk Chungus existed before the term existed, and it got ruined by the performative nature of it, the inauthenticity of it. Yeah, it's a performance of the manic pixie dream girl, but not cute.
Like Bjork, like she was an actual manic pixie girl.
Yeah, and it's also like a way that you retreat from being taken seriously because it's too much pressure to actually be a functioning adult that speaks eloquently and has ideas and opinions and cares about your appearance. All of that, too much pressure. They retreated into the Quirk Chungus archetype, and I guess the men retreated into that like soy boy form, so that they wouldn't have to face the pressures of adulting, which is another term that they came up with.
And then the guy, she's like, I need help, daddy, and he's like, I got you. Oh, are you okay, baby? And the things you don't see is like she acts like a child and he acts like a dad, even though they don't have kids. They got a cat or something.
Some of them, but I think a lot of them actually just both act like children, and they're the ones who like frequent Disney parks without kids.
Something interesting though is the media that's being served up for Quirk Chungus women is there's actually not that much media.
It's drying up.
It's most of the media for Quirk Chungus men. There's still plenty of it. As far as like they're still making Star Wars movies or TV shows. They're still making Marvel
Deadpool
movies.
and Wolverine gave
right. So it's like Quirk Chungus men are still
Quirk
getting
Chungus.
served up content and media. But
Yeah.
I think Quirk Chungus women aren't, and that's
there
why
was like
they,
Mindy Kaling was a big avatar of like a millennial Quirk Chungus woman.
Yeah.
She's obviously no longer relevant. But yeah, Anne Hathaway, Taylor Swift. I guess Taylor Swift is the last sort of media that's for Quirk Chungus females in this day and age.
And that's because she was like, ooh, like
She's
that
like,
kind of...
I'm like not like the other girls. Like, you belong with me. I'm not like the hot cheerleader. I
Right,
have
she was
glasses.
the nerdy girl.
It evolved a bit. It's kind of turned into more of the Aquafina kind of thing, where it's
Really?
like, yeah, where there's like there's a bit more presentation to it, but it's still Quirk Chungus. It's still like, I think it's nuking your own sexual value, I think is kind of what's in.
Yeah, man, they did it in the early 90s. There was a revolution of people wearing really baggy, big clothes of like plaid, jeans that were too big. People were not... Kurt Cobain he's like, I don't give a fuck what I look like. It was not about what you looked like, man. It was rock and roll. It was how you feel. And that was the real version of it. Now people, maybe they're trying
there's a whole trend called man repeller fashion that women are engaging in. They dress purposefully in a way that they believe like repulses men and makes them seem unattractive. So it's exactly that.
in the hope that the guy will see through it and see the real them.
Possibly, which is actually
There's something to be said about that.
that is the premise of literally every rom-com that is directed at a female audience. Is like, she's ordinary to everyone except him. He thinks that she's extraordinary and sees what's beautiful in her. And you know what? That's it. That is a beautiful story. It's just been twisted into something it never should have been.
And like, my advice is don't make yourself less attractive on purpose. Just be, your baseline and
be.
Well, that was the dichotomy you were hitting on earlier, is the pressure of you're either team bimbo or team gamer girl. I think that was the early battlefield of like, are you going to nuke your sexual value or are you going to like lean into it?
Do you remember that 4-panel meme where the girl was like, hey girls, so did you know that like
oh yeah
your boobs are supposed to stay inside your shirt?
Yeah, wasn't it like the boxy looking girl?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Boxy. It was a similar archetype. But Boxy is also like proto Quirk Chungus. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Jenna Marbles.
Jenna Marbles too. Yeah, like how to she like did these tutorials on like how to look like a 10 or whatever. Like she was the original Barstool Sports chick.
You know who pioneered Quirk Chungus is Miranda Sings.
Oh, yes.
She might have been the first. She might have been
definitely.
the first.
That's the girl that talks to kids.
Yep.
Miranda Sings.
Yep.
I've seen her a lot. Yeah,
Many such cases. Many such cases.
She does do that.
No, but I think she might be the catalyst, the origin point for Quirk Chungus.
It's definitely overlapping with the whole theater kid.
Yeah, that's what I was a theater kid.
Trope.
That's why I know these people.
Yeah.
The theater kid trope seemed to really manifest with Gen Z.
Like what it became a trope. What was it exactly?
Or at least
because
the
we were
phenotype.
super
and
nerdy.
the band kid trope as well.
Band
It was
'Cause
like
they were like more
Yeah.
chronically online than the
Yeah.
theater kids.
Oh,
and they liked like the edgy political memes.
Theater kids could probably exist without social. I mean, it's amplified
Yeah.
a lot of aspects. They
Yeah.
could probably exist. Band kids can't exist without the
Dude,
internet.
the band kids were the nerdiest of the artists in my high school in the 90s. And the theater kids were like a cool version of the band kids. The band kids were like, they seemed uptight. That was the difference.
I mean, I think the band kids are like cool amongst themselves. Like they have incredibly stark social hierarchies in the band kids.
Yeah.
Theater too,
Theater
'cause-
kids ultimately like the top. It's mean. The top shelf of theater kids filtered into NYU. You know, like that was their dream, or like Juilliard
Yeah.
or something.
Right,
where
right.
like the biggest aspiration for a band kid was probably like not going to college.
Working at
or-
a call center.
Yeah.
like the kids in bands weren't in the band in school. They were just in a
Right.
band. And sometimes you'd see a guy who was a drummer, like but usually they didn't.
Oh, we mean like literally the kids in marching band.
That's what I'm
Like-
talking about.
Like, but not kids who had bands like that. That is actually cool, and that doesn't exist.
Yeah, they
anymore,
wouldn't
but,
be in the
like,
And I
marching
had
band,
friends
those
that were
kids.
in, and for the record, I had friends that were in one of my good friends. He was in the marching band, and he played like trombone at university.
Thank you,
he's
guys.
cool. Like, he's a cool guy.
What?
I'm not saying being in the band made you a band kid. It just often happens.
Keep going. Oh shit!
Guys, we are running out of time though, so we do have to finish up reading these super chats. That's a good place to
Yeah, so
bookmark
I'm
it,
saying,
but yeah.
just to close that, like I don't want people to get me the wrong way. Is being in the band, I know very normal. I'm not even saying this to cope or cover my butt. I'm just saying there was kids in the band that were normal, but there was kids that they found each other through band and then became the band kid.
It's a contagious disease.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.